The Russian occupiers are preparing for a new offensive in the east, retreating in some areas, and HIMARS destroyed 5 Russian Buk missile systems in 10 minutes. The United States continues to support Ukraine, and has already delivered 190 MRAP armored vehicles to the front. Meanwhile, the occupiers are preparing for a new wave of offensive on Kupiansk. For this purpose, the Russian army is preparing a striking fist of hundreds of thousands of soldiers. At the same time, the occupiers are rotating their troops near Lyman and deploying additional forces from the territory of the Russian Federation. Under the precision fire of Ukrainian artillery, Russian occupants are leaving Klishchiyivka in the Bakhmut sector. However, this brigade may be replaced by a new one for a counterattack. The Ukrainian army advanced near the village of Opitny and approached the Donetsk airport. Over the past few days, approximately 2.4 square kilometers have been liberated in this area. The Ukrainian Armed Forces detected and destroyed a Russian radar station, Pre-Deli, in the port of Zalizny in Kherson region, which had not even been on combat duty for a week. The cost of one such radar station is $200 million. In the Tokmak sector, the Ukrainian army knocked out the Russian occupiers near Verbove and stormed Novoprokopivka. As a result, they managed to recapture positions from the Russians, from which the second line of defense of the Russian army came under fire control. In the Berdyansk direction, the Ukrainian armed forces are shelling the village of Kremenchuk, as many Russian troops are concentrated in this village and it is a key defense point for the Russian invaders on the dominant heights. Some of the Russian invaders are retreating from the Zaporizhzhya front towards Mariupol. This is the Vuhledar sector. Given the heights where the Ukrainian armed forces are located, some of these southern troops will be shot by the Ukrainian military as if they were in a shooting range. HIMARS has proven to be the most powerful precision weapon in service in this war. It destroyed 5 Russian Buk missile systems within 10 minutes in the Zaporizhzhya region. There is nothing Russia can do to counter this weapon and no way to protect its equipment from it.
Starting point is that the Russian army used to be the second strongest in the world. And now the Russian army is the second strongest in Ukraine. And that's quite impressive. That's the courage, the will, the commitment, the determination of the Ukrainian soldiers that are making this possible. And we also need to remember the starting point. And the starting point was that when the invasion happened, the full-scale invasion happened in February, we were told by most experts that Kiev would fall within days and Ukraine would fall within weeks. The Ukrainians proved them wrong by pushing back the Russian invaders, liberating the north around Kiev, the east around Kharkiv, and then bigger territories in the south and around Kherson. And now they are gaining more ground, liberating more Ukrainian territory. And then the same experts that told us that Ukraine will fall within weeks are complaining about the speed of the offensive. The reality is that the Ukrainians are actually exceeding expectation again and again. And we need to remember what's our responsibility. Our responsibility is to support them. We can advise them, but it has to be the Ukrainian commanders, the soldiers on the ground, that make the difficult decisions. We cannot sit here in Brussels, in the NATO headquarters, on the EU headquarters, and tell them exactly how to fight. That's their task, they're risking their lives, and we just support them. And we praise them for their courage.